classroom assistants, office staff, premises staff, volunteers, stall governors, all are welcome on this site.
If you're a head teacher or a member of the administration team, it doesn't matter. You can be anonymous behind your username, so you can speak honestly and openly.
There is a need within the people who work in education to share, to offload, to bounce ideas.
If you go to NASA in Houston and you ask the car park attendant what his job is, he says it's to help put people on the moon. Because everybody in an organization makes a contribution to the overall mission of that organization. And that is true of stalls, that every office worker, data manager, lunchtime supervisor, every classroom assistant, every teacher, every caretaker makes a contribution to the education of the children, and that's what we're about. We're aiming to improve the quality of life for people who work in stalls by enabling conversation and mutual exchange of ideas and inspiration and relaxation, and some entertainment.
You your name, so Jane. Thank you. Surname Ashdown. And then the email address for today we've set up.
So what's the site about? It's about trying to give a voice and support to all the people who work in stalls, as well as to inform everyone who is interested in the way stalls work. Why now? Because those of us who work in stalls and with stalls are experiencing an unparalleled period of turmoil. Not only are the structures and ownership and governance of stalls undergoing seismic change in a way that would have been thought impossible just a few years ago, but the very terms and conditions of our employment can no longer be taken for granted. Pay, pensions, holidays, hours of work are all subject to transformation, often without consultation. And recently, people working in stalls have been criticised by politicians and the press for protesting against changes to pension arrangements and mooted changes to working hours, including longer contact hours and shorter holidays. So this site aims to give a voice to all who work in stalls, whether you look forward with anticipation or trepidation to the future. Teachers, classroom assistants, office staff, premises staff, volunteers, stall governors, all are welcome on this site if your work is concerned with making things better for children and for young people through stall. And anyone else who's interested in education is welcome here too, parents and students and former teachers among them. We hope that in using this site, people who work in stalls will learn to feel better about the work that they do. Some people, when times get tough, say we need to look after ourselves. This is a site that says now times are tough, we need to look after each other. So happiness or well-being is critical to the success of any organisation, we believe. And we hope that members and visitors will come here not just to moan, but to look for and find ways of doing things better.
But I think it's very relevant when we're talking about a launch of a site like this, that the person behind the site has a real empathy with those who work within education. And if I can completely misquote, I think it's Kipling, Nigel has the ability to walk amongst kings, nor lose the common touch. So I do know and understand some of the issues that are in education. And as an ex-teacher, I also know that if you put a group of teachers in a pub for an evening, they talk about work a lot. So there is a need within the people who work in education to share, to offload, to bounce ideas. I know that from my own experience. The other thing from being a supplier to education for 12 years is that schools and people who work within schools are obsessed with what other schools are doing. It's almost the first thing that when you're in a discussion around services, or what do they do? Or if you drop a name that you work, what do they do? They're really interested in what goes on in other educational organisations. There is a market for this kind of site and for in terms of people who need and want to share their views and experiences of education. So I would just like to close by wishing Nigel and WorkingInSchool.net all the very, very best, and we wish him every success. Thank you.